close your eyes.
I go to the library.
Go to the library now. Are you back there?
Yes.
The same part?
No, it's always different. The library goes on forever.
How do you move around?
By wishing.
Libraries. What were they like? What are they like? What will they be like? Libraries have come a long way from their humble beginnings as simple archives on clay tablets. Today, they are the same and so much more. They hold records of the past, predictions of the future, theories of life, and possibilities. Housed here are brilliant ideas, horrible ideas, interesting ideas, ideas submitted for your approval. Every day we interpret new things in a new light and build upon these ideas and create new concepts. Thus, we will continue to make our libraries bigger and brighter with each new day. Let me take you on a journey and tell you about the importance of the ever-important library. It is an unfortunate truth, but not all societies are fit to have a library. Harris and Johnson believe that libraries require at least three conditions to survive. 1. Centralized population. Libraries do not prosper in nomadic conditions. There must be a stable location for the materials. Though one could argue that bookmobiles are an exception to this rule. 2. Economic development. Simply put, libraries need funding. 3. Political stability. Many great libraries have been destroyed when empires fell or in times of war or other armed conflicts. According to Dr. Don Toltzman, the library may well be viewed as one of the pillars of civilization, without which a given culture or society cannot be imagined. History begins with the written record. However, there has to be more than a scattered number of written records for there to be a library and/or a civilization. Works have to be preserved, collected, and organized for study, research, and reflection. When this was accomplished, the institution that came to be called the library was born. This new institution became a foundational element in the emergence and development of a civilization and culture. The earliest known library has been identified as being located in Sumeria, part of southern Mesopotamia, which is now part of modern-day Iraq, around 3000 BCE. The Sumerians used a wooden stylus to etch characters into moist clay. The clay was then fired to harden and eventually placed with a collection of other tablets. As many as 40,000 clay tablets have been found near the city of Nippur. Scientists have concluded that the subject matter of these texts contain mathematical tables, hymns, writing exercises, and even a Sumerian farmer's almanac. Here begins the Institute of the Library. Though not technically the first library, the Library of Ashurbanipal is credited to being the first systematically organized library. The library contained more than 30,000 cuneiform tablets and was the king's personal reference collection. A number of features that make this particular library unique include location. More than simply a storage room, this library contained small rooms that were easily accessible in the palace. Use. Ashurbanipal envisioned a library that was actively used by the learned class. This is reflected in the numerous warnings to patrons discouraging theft or maltreatment of materials. Collection contents. A wide range of topics that have been found in this library, for example, include law, medicine, science, government, magic, legends, geography, history, poetry, etc. Organization. A clear organizational system was found for this collection. Much like modern libraries, specific rooms were devoted to respective subject matter. Collection development. The collection was continuously expanded through materials acquired by war. The library contained an extensive collection of medical information, including hundreds of drug treatments for the wide range of illnesses of the time. The British Museum and the University of Mosul in Iraq are working on a long-term venture called the Ashurbanipal Library Project to bring the collection back to life with modern technology. Aristotle is said to have one of the first private library collections. His collection is significant as he would have scribes copy texts due to the fact that papyrus was a perishable material. The collection of Aristotle was also important because he systematically organized the texts with the intention of facilitating scientific research. Strabo said that Aristotle was the first man, so far as I know, to have collected books and to have taught the kings in Egypt how to arrange a library. The Library of Aristotle, mainly by surviving copies of texts, was transported from Athens to Rome and eventually became the basis of the Library of Alexandria. The Library of Alexandria was the largest of its time, around 300 BCE, and may have contained anywhere between 40,000 to 700,000 scrolls. The library thrived under the Ptolemaic dynasty and was a center for scholars from all over the globe. Additional facilities at Alexandria included dining rooms, lecture halls, meeting rooms, and gardens. The library was part of a larger research institution called the Museum of Alexandria. It was a great cultural center of the world. There are many theories as to how the Library of Alexandria actually burned down, but the most famous is that Julius Caesar accidentally burned it down when the fire he set to his own ships eventually spread and destroyed the library. During the Middle Ages, after the fall of the Roman Empire, political and economic stability began to crumble. Though there was a general decline, Christian monasteries were still able to keep the libraries alive. According to Rubin, the monastic library's mission was to provide a place for spiritual reflection, to archive religious texts, and reproduce religious and sometimes secular texts. Though the reproduction of texts was one of the monastery's missions, the task was often used to keep the monks' minds occupied and void of secular thoughts, sometimes even as punishment. One of the most significant developments related to libraries was the invention of the printing press in 1454. This technological achievement meant not only that the elite would have access to books, but the common masses as well. Some referred to it as the art that preserves all other arts. Rubin indicates several points to consider with the introduction of the printing press. The ability to produce exact copies, the ability to produce more titles and more copies, the ability to cover more subjects, the creation of new techniques for the organization of published materials, the stimulation of literacy and education for the general population. Now with the greater availability of books, there was a great influx of desire to learn, and thus began the Renaissance. Between 1883 and 1929, thousands of Carnegie libraries were established around the world. In the United States alone, Carnegie donated $56 million to construct more than 2,000 library buildings in more than 1,400 communities. The arrangement in exchange for his donation was A. The money given was strictly for building construction, not for library materials or staff. This guaranteed the collections would be shelved with local interests. And B. All recipients had to contribute an annual sum equal to 10% of the money donated to the building collections and hire staff. Also, within this arrangement, the city or town would appoint a board to control the decisions and not Carnegie himself, therefore inspiring local interest. Libraries often must keep up to date with the latest technologies to stay relevant. That does not mean that they need to move away from the traditional books, just simply integrate technology into their existing collection. There are some fantastic libraries that have a futuristic feel to them, but they still fundamentally look like a library. One of the most impressive structures that I found was the DOK, Library Concept Center, located in Delft, Netherlands. It is an amazing structure inside and out, and is one of the most technologically advanced libraries in the world. You can check out some of the photos of this amazing facility here. I hope you have enjoyed my presentation of a brief history of libraries. I encourage you to explore your own local library and speak with the librarian to learn more. Libraries are filled with hopes, dreams, and endless information. Perhaps one day you will be immortalized in the stacks of your own library.